Well, listen, I was really looking forward to coming out and spending some time tonight talking about duplication because I think that this is going to be the key to the success that we're all going to have going forward. To some of the points I was hoping to touch on tonight, but you know, the weekend really, I just can't tell you how quick the team is building right now. Coming out of the weekend, from what I had seen over the last 2 years, personally, I had not seen this kind of momentum happen in such a short period of time. It's April 4th, and the volume and the amount of membership that's coming in and customers that are coming in since the weekend, I've not seen in our business. So I'm pretty impressed with all of the people that are involved with us, how excited they are. And I just want to share that this is only the beginning. From my perspective and from Dave's perspective, I was on the phone with him quite a bit while he was driving with his wife, Joyce. It's pretty amazing what his excitement level and the commitment that he and Joyce have made to all of us on this call and who listen to it after. It's pretty amazing where we are at this chosen time in all our lives. I mean, I always say we have 100% of our life left. What are you going to do with it? But I think that's really important to recognize that this is probably one time or one first 4 days of a month that all of us will probably remember a year from now, 2 or 3 or 5 years from now, because I think that you could look back as this being the real beginning of your business. And now, granted, we're not perfect. We're certainly not a 10 out of 10 as a company in terms of infrastructure and the things we've done, but they're certainly way better than they were 2 years ago and a year ago and 6 months ago and 2 months ago. And it's coming along every day more and more. So just a couple of kind of housekeeping things before I get into my concept tonight. If you are going to go the direction of encouraging people, which I am, to get the Career Success Pack in a big way, the Ditto Touch is included, but it wasn't coded into the back office right out of the gate. But don't be afraid that your new rep isn't getting that for free. The customer service will make sure that happens, or they'll refund them the money, or they'll get it back to them if they order the Ditto Touch and pay the $75. So it's a coding issue, so it will happen. It's just a matter of any day that'll happen. So I just wanted to kind of mention that because I had some people reach out to me and saying that they were buying the pack and they weren't getting the Ditto Touch link. So that's just a bit of housekeeping for you. So let me just share my screen and I'll get into the topic that I wanted to continue down the path here on April 4th. I was in Vegas and I started down this concept here of monkey see and monkey do, and did a training in the afternoon and did a training with Nancy on the day before. And I touched on this and I kind of finished the concept off on day 2. And I wanted to take it a little bit further here with you guys on this call, because I really believe that this is the simplest way to describe what we're doing at this time in our Valentus careers, all of us. You know, what we do, our team will do. What you do when you start, that's how your people will start. What you do in terms of using tools, that's what your team will use for tools. What you do for social media, if it means tying into training platforms like this one that are announced, your team will do that. We have a team gets results announcement messenger thread that I'm encouraging you all to add your memberships to, because if you go to, just so I can read it off properly to you, I'll just look at it and it's team gets results announcements on Messenger. Request to be added to it, but here's all we ask you to do. Please don't like, comment, or add pictures or add anything to it. All it's used for is when we know we have something important and one of the leaders inside Team Gets Results or one of our structured partnership teams that are inside, like it could be Dory's team, it could be Brett and Andrea's team, it could be Mike King's team, it could be something that Donnie and Rhoda and their team, somebody in our structure, Jerry Booth and Kim, Deb Callahan and her organization, any of the diamonds, Bob Bell and his organization. We've got a lot of different diamonds that have teams building in different areas. if they have something they think is important that they'd like to share with the group, then they'll give it to us, Nancy or I. Let us post it. But again, remind anybody you add to it, please don't like or comment. It's so important because we lose people. Because instantly you get 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100 little comments, and your phone's binging at 4 in the morning, and especially if you're in a time zone like you're in New Zealand right now, and it's going, and it is 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. So just don't like or comment. But I encourage you to add your people to that announcement messenger, because I think it's very valuable. Some of you probably got the message of this Zoom on that and the training that we did last night. So monkey see, monkey do. It's so important for us to recognize as an organization that, you know, we've got to duplicate the concept of it's all about them. It's all about our team. So we've got to show them our commitment, and we've got to show them what it is that is going to make them successful. And, you know, I look at things like this picture here, which was from the Matrix movie, and, you know, what we're really trying to do, each and every one of us, is duplicate good people. We're trying to find good people. And I want to be honest with you, and I don't want to be rude or I don't want to be crude, but I've started to understand that my time, my commitment to the people that I want to commit my time to is the people that I know I can help the most because they're motivated. I want to find those people that have good people skills. So what I'm going to suggest to you all tonight in terms of your duplication training we're doing tonight is to look at these 6 things I've listed here, and those are the types of people that we want to sort through in our warm market, in the people that we meet day to day. We want to find people that have good people skills. Like, I mean, for gosh sakes, I don't think I came across one person in Nevada at the Leadership Summit that I wouldn't call a friend, you know. But let's just back up from the summit. When I first got to know Brett and Andrea Griffin and Donnie and Rhoda Bazan, it's not because of being in Valentus with us. They're great people. You know, they're very good quality people that care about others. I mean, I want you to think that way. When you look at people that you'd like to be in this business with, think of them as having good people skills. Who do you know that go out of their way to help others, or you know, just do the little things and they don't ask for anything in return? And those are the people that understand that it's more about them. Look for those people. That's the first one. The second thing to look for when you're trying to duplicate yourself and find good people is you've got to think about people that are not afraid to learn. If you know friends of yours that read books, or, you know, not just Harlequin romances, but I mean, I'm talking about books that are moving them along, psychology books, or books about how to be a better mom and dad and husband and wife, like, you know, the 5 love languages. If you find those people, that means they're coachable because they're not afraid to learn and they are self-motivated. I think that's important as a trait to look for in good people and duplication, right? I mean, people that you know in your life that are dependable and reliable, those people we want in our business. Because I'm going to tell you something, I'm relying on all of you guys, and I know you guys are relying on my wife Nancy and I in terms of wherever you are in our lives. And we've got your back, and we want you to have our back. I mean, you know, we're not a shiny object couple. We came to this company with a commitment to hit $1 billion in revenue, and if it takes us 10 more years, we'll be here. If it takes us 5 years, which I'm starting to suspect for sure it will, we'll be here and we'll celebrate. But we committed, and we're dependable and reliable. And you know what? We're improving all the time. We're reading. We're coachable. I'm being mentored a lot by John Aremza and other people that I meet in my business today. You know, brand new reps that I'm so impressed with. I want to know which books they're reading. So look for those people to duplicate that are dependable and reliable, and you know that others rely on. Other people look at them with respect, right? Those people, number 4, have credibility and influence. Those are the people we want to duplicate, because if you can find dependable, reliable, credible people that have influence in whatever they do, and it doesn't mean that they have to be a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, a school teacher, a football coach today. You got to find in any career that you find good people in, the ones that you know just through the people that you associate with, that they have some credibility, they have some influence, because they will attract people. They will be, if they show their like for what we're doing, there's going to be people that are going to look. They're going to try the product, and they're going to be able to get involved here, right? Or they're going to want to learn how to get those people to be involved here, which is really the important key to duplication, is to not look for a lone wolf. If you've got somebody, and I always talk about a salesman because I personally am what you would call a salesman, but I had to take my salesman hat off in the network marketing world to really understand that I can use my strengths, my communication strengths, my ability to get people to smile when I want them to smile. I often will lower my voice when I know they're talking lower. I'll often cross my arms when I know they're crossing their arms. I may sit forward when they're sitting forward, or sit back or cross my legs. I've learned all those skills because I know that the person on the other side really wants to like themselves first. They really do. And so if they see something in you that they see in themselves, there's a good chance they're going to listen to you a little bit better, okay? So credibility and influence is a really important trait when we're looking for good people to duplicate our business. And, you know, if you find people that aren't afraid to add on to their purchases, I'm not talking about Valentus. I'm talking about friends and associates that you know buy, you know, okay, for example, you know, there's the Cadillac truck and there's the GMC truck or the Chevy truck, but they move up to the Cadillac, or there's the, you know, the Honda versus some other one. The Lexus is Toyota and Lexus. If you find people that move up, they add the added accessories to the barbecue, they add the you know, the something to their purchases because they are not afraid to pay for options. Those people like the good things in life. And you can often use some of the things we've learned throughout our years in Valentus to attract them to what we're doing, right? Because they do like the good things, and you don't even have to talk to them about the money they earn, anything like that. You just know that they're the type of people that might have a little bit of motivation when it comes to money. Not that they want to be completely rich, but they understand that oxygen can't do it without, and money can't do without. And if you've got a little bit of money, you can increase your performance on a vehicle, or you can add an option to a vehicle. They drive home with a new car, and you look at it and you go, wow, that's really cool. You know, everybody seems to be getting a 6-cylinder and they got an 8-cylinder. I mean, those people, look for those people. They like the good things. And I think it's important for you to recognize how important the benefit of a home-based business really is from a tax standpoint. I think you've got to get your head around the fact that you should go buy a little book on home-based business taxes. Get a little understanding of that so that you can use that in the conversation from a place of strength, and maybe use that as an advantage when you're trying to attract good people, that they're maybe in a job situation right now where they're giving away too much of their money. Legally, there is a top pile of tax advantages in a home-based business. And I believe if we understand the tax advantages a little better, which I do because I've been in business since 1984, you will attract good people, okay? So that's the first thought process I wanted to bring you on this scenario of good people. When I talk about this slide on the monkey see and monkey do, the reference here for all of you is that, you know, there's a friend that I'm getting to know really well, Doug, who shared with me something called The 100 Monkeys, and the book itself is written about nuclear war. There's a really kind of a sad sort of reference to what it's all about. But when you really get your head around the fact that people will follow when it gets to a certain number, and that number is 100, believe it or not. It's 100. You know, and the example might be electrons bouncing along in a tube, you know, in a circle thing called like a kaleidoscope, and around they go. They'll be bouncing all over the place, and then a few of them will stick together. And there's something about the number 100, right? Where all of a sudden they stick together and they all of a sudden get into a line, and before you know it, at 100, they start going in circles super fast in one direction. Well, the analogy that I used was, here's a tree with fruit falling into the sand, and the monkeys are eating this dirty sand and piece of fruit, and one falls into the lake, and the monkey in the water there is eating this banana or this orange or this peach, and they got no sand on it, and they go, man, this is way better than when it had sand on it when I got the last one that fell out of the tree. And one of the other monkeys chases one of them down the hill, and it rolls into the water, and it washes, and they start eating it, and then a few of the other ones start kicking the fruit down the hill, and before you know it, monkey see, monkey do, every piece of fruit from the tree goes in the water. That's where Valentus is going. Critical mass. duplication. If we all get really good at this concept of duplication, your business, your check, your point where you're at today will be 10 times where you are right now, 12 months from now. And that could be $100 a month today and making $1,000 a month and a year from now. Nothing wrong with that, 10 times, right? I mean, whatever it means to you when you think about that. So the important thing for you to know is that we all have a role when it comes to duplication in our business, right? You know, we're the sponsor. If you're the sponsor and you're trying to build a team, as a sponsor, we've got to pick good people. So what kind of people am I looking for? I'm looking for these kind of people. I'm looking for the people that have these kinds of skills, these kinds of 6 things right here. That's what I'm looking for. And when you hear somebody like a Karen Ford describe during her process of the 6-day experience, right? So you hit that 6-day experience, and by day 3, you're saying, listen, I'm going to call you on day 5. Do you think you've got some people that you maybe can bring on to the phone, or a list that I can maybe approach in your market that we could offer these 6-day sample packs to, because I want to build a business there? And the people on the 5th day, when you call them, say, I got that list together for you, Karen or Dawn or Brett or Donnie or Kim or whoever. And you then say to them, oh, let me ask you something about that list you created there. Who in that list would you really think has really got some credibility in the marketplace that I could talk to? And if I could get them interested, we probably could build a heck of a team of people around them. You see what I just did is I'm using everything we're doing to duplicate to sort through these 6 things. I'm trying to figure out who do we really want to be in business with, right? And so when I think about the new member, he needs or she needs to pick good people from their list. So we want to start teaching a concept to people on duplication that says, let's pick wisely. Why push a rope? Folks, run from your negative naysayers. You don't need them. There's so many positive people in the world, and more coming, that you will be absolutely so excited to see your business grow if you start giving your attention to the kinds of people that deserve it, right? Look really carefully for the key people in your database that kind of fill in this kind of a approach right here. Now, when I think about my upline, that's you now. If I sponsored you, I want to, help get them in the business by using the tools to duplicate. So the upline is going to the new member and saying, okay, here's what we're going to do to get people involved. The new member is saying, okay, I'm going to pick good people. Thanks for the list to show me how to do it. And the sponsor is saying, well, I got to go find good people. It's all connected for us to duplicate, right? And so when we think about what's important in terms of the commitment we're all making here, right, to each other, first and foremost, each and every one of us is committed to, I don't want to say the cause, the V, whatever. We're committed to the people that we bring into the business. It's so important to recognize that there's some basic things that commitment is important to recognize. What you agree to do, what I agree to do, and what we agree to do together. That's what we got to get on a why sheet, okay? So the important thing about your why is I need to know why you want to be here. You got to share that with me. So we got to duplicate really well with our new people this concept of finding out why they're doing this. Why do they want to be in business with us? Because you know what, ultimately, folks, we're all just paid storytellers. We just want to find a good story to share about products, find a good story to share about people that are having success here, and duplicate that. And so if we all do that, out of the gate, we don't have to wait till we get a good story on our product results. We don't have to wait until we're making a whole kinds of money. We can talk about John Aremza or whoever else we want to talk about, Rick Geralds or whoever. Doesn't matter. You could talk about Karen Ford. You could talk about Don and Nancy Carson. You could talk about Kim and Jerry Booth. You talk about Brett and Andrew Griffin, Donnie and Rhoda Bazant. Who doesn't matter who you talk about, but just talk about something. Share what we're doing and find a story that you want to be pointing in the right direction. Because ultimately, the commitment you're making to that new member will duplicate to their new member. That's why we do welcome calls. That's why it's so important that when you bring a new person in, it's not about that transaction. It's about the next transaction. George, Bill, Sally, Susie, whatever the name is, let me tell you, I'm so excited you joined my team, but give me a second here. I want to introduce you to one of my business partners. The business partner comes on the line. They say to Susie, wow, thank you so much for trusting in Jave or George or Bill or whatever their name is. You have to know that you made such a great decision I've been in this company now for 3.5 years. My wife and I are making more money per month than we make in something. We've got $12 million invested into other companies. This is a crazy, crazy thing and crazy timing. Congratulations. And here's my number. Call me if you have any questions, because you have to understand something. I'm your sponsor, just like Dave or Susie or whoever sponsors you, his name is. See, that welcome call is part of the commitment that we make to duplicate. So the three-way call at the beginning is this whole ability to show that we're picking good people and we're helping people pick good people. The welcome call is the commitment we're making to show that person that we're going to introduce them to stories and show them that it's not about you telling a story. It's more about the team, the organization telling a story, and all you need to do is plug into whatever story is being shared. Now, I'm a big fan of Ditto Touch. I think it's mandatory in our organization to be able to take advantage, especially now, of $75. $75 to purchase a lifetime membership for Ditto Touch. You know what it is, folks? It's duplication at its finest. Top right-hand square of this slide says Captain Ditto. The left-hand side of that slide is the 7 modules inside Captain Ditto that takes your new person on day 1 to page 2 of their success. Page 1 was, I'm in. I'm purchasing X, Y, or Z product. Now what? Well, tonight I'd like you to go on to CaptainDitto.com and start on the modules. There's 7 of them. We do say you could take 7 days to do them, but there's nothing that says you can't go a little quicker and get through them. You see, this program was designed for duplication. We want everybody, day 1, to have a chance to know. Look at day 1, setting up your Valentus business. You see, a new person is excited. They don't know how to set up their business, and they sponsor another new person who doesn't know how to set up a business. Then they sponsor somebody that could have been an absolute rock star, and they don't get help. They don't get their questions answered. They don't know a clue who is in the upline. Nobody's told them about a welcome call. Nobody's got them on a 3-way call. They've said yes because somebody else had influence, but that person doesn't know what to do because they've not turned to page 1 in Captain Ditto and said, hey, I'm going to show you how to set up my Valentus business. I don't need to be there anymore. You don't need to be there anymore. This will give them the basics of what the pay plan does, what the rotator is, how you get paid with the payment options. The basics is in module 1. Module 2, compensation plan. Let's get the basics. Day 1, day 2, whatever day they go to this module. Support. What's the vision here? What are we doing? What's our story? You know, what kind of activities should I do daily to be productive? And tell me more about the products and what's some of the keys to success. It's in a free online program called CaptainDitto.com. Nobody makes money here. We just share and duplicate. This is a tool. You want to use it. You want to duplicate it. And if you buy the Success Career Pack, it's included for free, the training as well as the modules where you get to send out presentations. And I got to tell you, when you think about what this is designed to do, okay, I can send it out with your name in it, and you get this on a text or an email. The duplication that we all got to get really good at doing when we use Ditto Touch is to preface what you're sending to somebody with some excitement. You are going to call them up and say, Lorraine, oh my goodness, you got to see this. It's incredible. I absolutely can't even describe what I'm going to send you, but promise me this. You're going to give 10 minutes to look at something I'm going to send you. Will you do it? It's going to say, you got to see this. Or if you don't fill their information into the file out of the gate, they will have to enter their first name, last name, email address, and phone number into a database that's being sent to them. And then that opens up this screen to them. There's 2 steps you can do. Either you put all their information in, they don't have to put anything, and all I can do is click this button and the presentation opens up, or they're going to put it in. Why do you preface what you're sending them? Because if you don't fill the information in for them, they're going to think that they're obligated to do something here if they put their name into it, and 9 times out of 10, they won't do it. So what you got to get really good at is building some excitement into why they should put their first name, last name, email, and make sure they know there's 0 commitment. It's just so that you can personalize the presentation to them. Because when it opens up for them, it's going to say, hi, George, thanks for taking the time, and it'll personalize it for them, okay? So the important thing for you to recognize is Ditto Touch is duplicatable. Now, this is the common problem with salespeople today. When you walk into a store, what do you say when somebody asks you, can I help you? No, thanks, I'm just looking. Well, you've taken out of your chance to get them interested the opportunity for them to say yes, okay? So what I'm saying to you is, you should say, I mean, if one of my salesmen said that, no thanks, I'm just looking at this, the person says to me, I would say this to them. I said, well, let me tell you, you should look over here then if you don't know what you're looking. I'm just looking, well then you should look over here. I got to turn it around. The point I want to make about this is don't lay out your cards. Don't dump the toolbox. Don't give too much. Hold it back, little bit at a time. You don't have to tell them about all 20 products. You don't have to tell them that there's 90 countries we're doing business in. You need to get yourself really good at baby steps, okay, when it comes to building the curiosity. And when they're interested, you don't necessarily have to jump all over them at that point either. You might want to hold back a little bit and say, well, you know what, I'm really excited. It's a bit of a picture form here I want to share with you. Give me a second. I'll get back to you in a couple hours. Make them, be curious why you didn't tell them everything all at once. You got to get really good to duplicate at holding things back, okay? I mean, I love everything that I do in this business, but I also recognize something that we can't think like a millionaire in terms of having $1 million. We have to think in terms of cash flow. This slide is really important to me and what I do because I realized about a year and a half ago in my business here that I could be overwhelming somebody. I could go to somebody and say, and listen, the average North American, $55,000 to $60,000 household income, they can't even fathom John Aremza making 70,000 a week, right? It doesn't make sense to them. So stop talking that way. What you want to do and duplicate with your team is talk about the lowest number on this page here. Get your head around the fact that if you had $1 million on deposit, you might only be getting around $1,500 to $2,000 a month in interest. The billionaires of the world want the $2,000. It's not about the $1 million. It's about the $2,000. So if you had $500,000 in the bank, that might be $500 a month cash flow. So what we got to get really good at duplicating is the $500 a month cash flow because it's an exciting number. I mean, people that want to retire have to have $4 million in the bank at retirement to not work so that they can generate an extra $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year in interest, based on today's interest rates, especially after tax because you're going to be taxed on it. Cash flow is king. So let's duplicate the concept of cash flow, everybody. Let's duplicate how important it is for each and every one of us to not talk about making $1 million a month, because I used to talk that way, because I used to say, hey, I'm here because I'm going to make $1 million a month. But now I like to talk in terms of, $200, $300, $500 to $1,000 a month. What would that do for you? Because you see, most people have a full-time career. Maybe they change their job every 5 years. But it's kind of nice that you can say, what would an extra $300, $400, $500, maybe $1,000 a month do for you? Folks, $100,000 a year income, which is the minority of most Canadians and Americans and worldwide population, 100,000. There's not a lot of people that make six figures, right? So if I said to you, what's wrong with $1,000 a month? That's $12,000 a year. If I was making $100,000, I just gave myself a, 12% raise? Where do you get a 12% raise in any job today, right? So you got to think differently. If we're going to duplicate this business, we've got to duplicate from a standpoint of cash flow. So really understand the importance of this slide and how we want to break it down to anybody making an extra $300 a month is like they've got $200,000 on deposit in the bank earning interest. It's fascinating to see their eyes when you start thinking that way, okay? So really important to understand that residual income keeps coming. And when we start duplicating this shifter that I do at every training and every event, at the end of every event, this is what we're talking about today. The duplication begins with us being storytellers. We get into the fit-in phase of where we get started. I buy the 1, 3, 6, or 16 or the new Success Career Pack, which will have the 350 samples available inside it by about mid-month as they get their inventories back up because of the big pickup we had heading into convention. So you will be able to buy sample sticks and products and a kit and Ditto Touch and your $20 fees paid for and so on and so on. We want to get started right. We want to then get to the point where we understand going to second gear means, who am I working with? Who's the leaders I'm going to work with? What conference call can I get on where I'm going to learn the most? Well, here's a tool we have, folks, at Second Gear. Tuesdays and Thursday opportunity meetings. Every Tuesday and Thursday, a different diamond leader is doing a presentation on why Valentus, why now. You need to duplicate that. And if your time zone doesn't allow you to be on it live, you need to go to valentuscalls.com and pick the recording you like best, and you can send that to your prospect. You can actually send the recordings of your favorite opportunity call done by your favorite speaker to your prospect and let them have a 30-minute session listening, and if possible, listen to it with them. Answer their questions while they're listening to it. You're now using third-party validation without having another person there because it's somebody else telling the story. See, the message on gear number 2 is work with your upline to connect to your warm market. It's so important that you're not the storyteller. It's so important that you let somebody else be the storyteller. Because going from first gear, I'm a product of the product, I've got a story now, I like it. Going to second gear, I got a list of people that are good people. They've got 6 things we talked about earlier on in this Zoom call that I'm looking for, influencers. I'm looking for those 6 things, that I went through back here. I'll just kind of quickly go back here again, right here. Good people skills. They're coachable. They're motivated. They're dependable. They're reliable. I'm looking for these people. I'm making a list around these people. I'm sorting through the 100 to get down to 50, to get down to 25, to get down to 3, 4, or 5, because we all know that our business is not based on bringing in 100 people. It's based on bringing 3 or 4 of the right people, and then helping 3 or 4 of the right people bring in 3 or 4 of the right people. And so on and so on, and duplication begins. So third gear is you're going to sponsor your member with your support team. That means somebody else other than you is going to tell the story. That's third gear. Duplicate that. And then go to your fourth gear by training your brand new person exactly what we shared in the beginning of the Zoom. Go back and watch this Zoom. Get your head around the beginning of this Zoom. Get your head around the fact that it's so basic, the 6 types of things you're looking for. It's so basic, the 3 things that we're trying to do together and the commitment we're making to each other. It's so basic that you've got to train the new person the basics. That's what we're doing. We're working on the simplest way of duplicating 3 to find 3. And that's the 5th gear. Duplicate the steps we're talking about. Duplicate everything that you've been learning here about sharing the business or the product and then following up. It's 3 steps. Share the business and the products and follow up, right? Ultimately, we're doing something together at all times in this business. We're going to conferences together. We're doing the best stuff happens at the end together. We're doing meetings together. And folks, the next time I have one of my personal leaders that is available to be at an event in a local market and they choose not to go because they don't have anybody to bring to that event, I say shame on you. You need to understand that the time that you need to be there the most in a city like Medicine Hat, when I go there with my wife Nancy, and we're going to drive from Edmonton. We're flying into Calgary on the 17th. We're driving up to Edmonton to do a meeting on the 17th. And we're going to drive the next morning to Medicine Hat from Calgary to do a meeting for whoever's there. And then we're going to drive after the meeting to Calgary to stay at the hotel where our daughter is playing volleyball the next morning. That's our commitment to our team. So if there's somebody in that town that lives there that doesn't have anybody to bring to Medicine Hat, I expect you to be there. I expect you to put a hug on the other people that have guests there and show them the commitment that there is a team here that really does care. That's the message that I wanted to share with all of you, that we're in this together to win it. So even though you don't have a guest at a function, please come. Please support the people that do, because one day you want to bring somebody and you want them to be there to support you. That's duplication. That's duplication of a commitment we make to each other as a team. And I got to tell you, there's not a lot of businesses out there in the world that you'll want to do what I just described, because that becomes a job, that becomes work. Here, it becomes fun. And when it starts being fun, then yeah, maybe you need to be the one that goes away, and maybe we don't want you to stay. But I want you to know something. If you committed to this process, we've got all kinds of people that are going to look at this funnel, and we want to get them out the bottom as clients and prospects. And there's something about strength in numbers that gets them excited. So we want bums in the seat. So when we use the expression of prospecting and cultivating and positioning and closing those people, it's easier for people to get excited when there's people in the room excited, okay? And even if you've been there before, do your friend, your cross-line friend a favor and make it sound like you've not been there a whole many times, and ask a couple of questions to keep the whole thing moving along, right? Be the first person to put your hand up. Be the first person to support the team. And if there's questions being asked on a Zoom, in an opportunity Zoom, why don't you ask the question to keep things moving, so that the person that's in the room that has a question, that's afraid to ask the question, might feel more comfortable to ask the question. So ultimately, everything I'm sharing with you tonight is to go away from being a lone wolf on the right. The salesman that does not use the team will fail. The person that is coming along with all of the 6 traits that we discussed at the beginning of this Zoom, they will understand that their role here is to use everybody else to tell a story, so they can help 3 people tell the story to other 3 people, to tell the story to another 3 people. That's what we're duplicating. That's what we are ultimately doing with the 6-day experience. We want to get it into the hands of new people. Then we want to follow up with them and ask for their names of ultimately their good people, so that we could let them know that there's something going on here, and that we'll do the work to help them, if they're interested, maybe make some money on what we're doing with our excitement. And again, nobody should say no to you. If you want them in your business bad enough, it may take you 2 years to do it. But you got to have the commitment and the excitement in your voice. I mean, I've got a good friend of mine flying over to China, and I know he's bringing in some people in Hong Kong. They may have said no to him before. They may not have been ready before, but his excitement level is completely different than it was even last week, as he brought in 2 and 3 builders today from all over the globe. Folks, it's all about attitude. If you have the right attitude and you duplicate a positive attitude, and you get in a team of people that have an amazing attitude, and that's usually in a group setting like a Zoom or a meeting room or an event like Orlando in September. Hey, you're all invited to my birthday party, right? September 7th is my birthday, so we're going to have a heck of a best stuff happens at the end party in Orlando. That's what I'm telling you, at least right now. But that's when the convention is. It's in Orlando in September. Folks, nobody will say no to you when you follow some of the things I've touched today. Get your head around why you're here, why your people are here, and really look for the right people. Let's stop pushing a rope. You know, if you sponsor up, your opportunity gets into a different circle of influence. Remember, if you continually think down, well, I only know somebody who's going to be interested in this, that is, got this kind of a income level. Well, they might attract somebody else that's got this kind of an income level. But if you can bring in a few people like this, they'll probably bring in a few more people and a few more people. The key here is circles of influence. We want to get into different circles of influence. So what we're trying to do is duplicate the right influencers. Okay? So don't forget how important some of the steps I've shown you tonight is, because ultimately we're looking for that number on the right, folks. We're trying to get the light bulb to go on for the people that we're introducing to Valentus. We want 3 to bring in 3, to help them bring in 3. Look at those numbers. Look at them. I mean, if you look at that, down to 1,089 in that middle column, and then if we were to bring in 4 and duplicate 4, which is the canoes that I always discuss in my business. I'm looking for 4 people that ultimately help them get 4 people, and they go onto the top of the plan. That's 5,456 people. The key to this slide, to finish off our duplication training tonight, is that it's 5,332 more than 124, but really it's only 2 more than 2. The duplication of duplicating 2 people to help 2 people, as opposed to 4 people to help 4 people, is 5,332 when you break it down on the levels that I've got in this illustration. Okay, so I'm convinced, everyone, that we are in the right place at the right time. I think each and every one of you are, and you know, I'm really happy that we had the numbers we had on tonight to go through this. The corporate call, of course, is on in about 15 minutes. I think what we could do is just maybe have a couple of questions. I see there's a chat. I'll just ask the question. Exciting, I hear exciting. Yes, it is. It's all good. Your why is key. Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, these are the keys, guys. These are the keys. Everybody's getting it. We just got to get really good at duplicating it. And the amount of three-way calls that my wife and I have been doing recently has accelerated tenfold. Why? Because belief is raised dramatically, part and parcel because we have some incredible products that we had. And I want to share with you that the cocoa is absolutely amazing. My daughter likes our Optimum coffee, but she's switched to the cocoa. And I only got one tub, so I'm going to actually hide it on her because I'm drinking it too. It's delicious. But we've got some great things ahead of us. I'll just give you a quick highlight of my schedule. Next Thursday, Nancy and I are driving to Hudson on the river, the Mississippi River, which is about 15 minutes outside of Minneapolis. And we're going to be doing a information coffee talk evening on Thursday in a home there that has been offered to invite people to. You have to RSVP. The sheet is on Team Gets Results today. You can go there and see the number for Suzanne. Text her. If the numbers go up, she's got a hall just down the street. Then on Friday morning, we're going to get up and drive into the right dead center between Madison and Milwaukee. And there's a population that's going to come from Green Bay, from Milwaukee, and Madison to come and see our presentation on the Saturday, where we're going to do a training. It'll be a Super Saturday kind of a training, and it's open to everybody again. We're actually going to do an evening on Friday night of meet and greet at the same hotel. Again, check out Team Gets Results. The ad is there. We're going to then work our way back through Hudson on the Sunday. So my philosophy in going into new areas now is to do two cities or two times as quickly as possible. Build some momentum the first night and then get the second night in place where you can get people that were excited to come and bring some people. I've already had people today say they're bringing people on the Sunday. They can't make the Saturday, but I know the people are going to come Thursday, are going to come the Sunday. So that's next week. Then we're going to be doing Winnipeg on the 16th in Winnipeg at the Gates on Roblin. The 17th, we're going up to Calgary, Edmonton, Alberta. The 18th, we're going to be in Medicine Hat, Alberta. And on the 19th or the 20th, to be determined in the evening, Friday night or Saturday night, we'll be in Calgary doing an event. It's being set up right now by a couple of people that are trying to figure that out. They figure we're there. They're not going to let us sit and just do nothing. So I guess we're going to be doing something in Calgary on the 19th or the 20th. We'll finish off the month by going on a 4,000-mile trek. I figure it's 4,000 miles, everyone. Want to talk commitment? I'm going to go from Winnipeg to Vermont, where Sue Robinson's going to be hosting a 2-day event there. Then I'm going to be picked up by Lisa St. Dennis out of Boston in the middle of the drive between Vermont and Boston. And we're going to open up Boston. We're going to do 2 days there. Then I'm going to get on a plane in Boston and fly all the way across to Bend, Oregon, and do 2 days there with Terry and Paul, and then fly home. It's 4,000 miles. Folks, I'm not saying that's what you need to do to duplicate, but I have the ability right now to do that, so I'm doing it just to say to you, we'll go out and stir the pot a little bit. Then we'll expect that all those people in those areas just take over and do their own thing, and we duplicate. So anyways, I hope you got something out of it tonight. Brett, I'll let you turn it off. I don't know if we've got any questions we want to ask or anything like that. I see Joyce looks skinny. Oh, absolutely, she looks skinny.